I'm Dan and I'm the viola player in the Berkeley Ensemble. Now, when strangers in the street see my case and ask me what I play, I sometimes lie and say the violin. The differences between the violin and the viola are subtle. They're important to us musicians though, and so when I have the time, I'm happy to explain. The viola looks like the violin and is played on the shoulder in the same way. We normally use a bow strung with horsehair to make the strings stretched across the instrument vibrate, although they can be plucked like a guitar. We call these styles of playing Arco and pizzicato. However they're made, the vibrations are amplified by the hollow wooden body of the instrument. It's old technology, but it hasn't changed much in 500 years. The differences between the violin and the viola start with their size. Now, this difference is small, so it's hard to show without an example to hand. Thanks. This extra size supports the viola's slightly deeper sound. It's also meant that I, like most beginners, started out on the violin. The viola is often a bit large to handle when you're very young. The notes we tend to play fit conveniently on the alto clef, which neatly places middle C on the middle stave line. Our lowest note is 1 octave below that, and our highest note is about 3 octaves above our lowest, for which the treble clef comes in handy. As you might expect, the sound of the viola is somewhat between that of the violin and the cello. Traditionally, it's been thought of as having a rather melancholy character, but it's also famed for its warmth and dark, chocolatey sound. This is the melody that convinced me to finally ditch the violin for the viola when I was studying at university. It demonstrates these qualities really well. However, the viola's middling range means that it tends to get used in all kinds of music to provide harmony parts and rhythmic drive. Tunes can be rather hard to find, and that means it's often tricky to pick out the individual viola part in an ensemble. Although composers and audiences were beginning to take more interest in the viola as the 19th century, the Romantic era, wore on, two virtuoso viola players at the beginning of the 20th century really shook things up, William Primrose and Lionel Tertis. Their playing was so brilliant that they could convince famous composers to write pieces for the viola, which in turn gave players a reason to study it seriously for the first time. Now modern composers love to explore its untapped potential. Check out music by Berio, Ligeti and Sciarrino to hear some amazing pieces written during the 20th and 21st centuries. Violas get used in pop music wherever a string section is featured. Almost everyone needs harmony. John Cale played solo viola with the US rock band The Velvet Underground and still tours his experimental music. He often uses an electric instrument. I love the unsung and slightly exotic character of the viola, even if it sometimes takes a bit of explaining. Try listening out for its distinctive, if elusive, sound in a string quartet, string section, or indeed a full orchestra.